Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. So, I'm back at you with another development. One has come, and the reason why I say this is because there's so many new things that are happening right now, not even just in California, but outside of California, even everywhere. Like a lot of people are really fed up. And so we're starting to see who people really are. And even if they're for something or against something, it's coming out, it's showing all over the place. And so we're starting to see how people really feel about, wherever they live, where they grew up, their neighborhoods, their city. A lot of people are really staying abreast of what's going on, and either they're for something or against it, and it's showing. And so a time of reckoning is here, folks. So a lot of people are coming out, and they're basically voicing their opinions about how they feel about a lot of these things that are happening. So Los Alamitos wants nothing to do with California sanctuary state laws, and it will start a new resistance. So, um, actually, it poses a question. It says, will it start a new resistance? And so, this is coming to a head. And so, Los Alamitos City Council vote to oppose California sanctuary state law, and they celebrate. And so, there's people that you've seen in the beginning when it started out where they were celebrating. And so, about 12,000 residents, they spread across a few miles of the suburban Southern California. Los Alamitos is better known for its good schools, small town charm, and political activism. But the city now finds itself at the center of a rebellion against California's sanctuary policies, which aim to protect immigrants here illegally as President Trump vows to ramp up deportations. And so it just seems like it's not going to come to an end. So you have to really keep abreast of what's going on and how it's going to affect your neighborhood, your city, or where you live if you're in the California area. And so this has to do with mostly all California residents in some shape, form, or fashion. So Los Alamitos leaders on Monday approved an ordinance that exempts their Orange County municipality from the Senate Bill 54, a law that took effect January the 1st, and it restricts local law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration authorities. So it marks a rare effort by a city to challenge the sanctuary movement, which has wide support among elected officials in the left leaning of California. So many cities have faced an eerie of Trump and the administration for policies that they say are too lenient towards those who are here illegally. So the president slammed San Francisco over its sanctuary law, which he said it had allowed the Mexican national fatally shoot a tourist that was there and to remain on the streets. So that was when the man, he shot the young lady, and they took him to took him to jail and then took him to court, and then he was found not guilty. And so that's who he's referring to. So an Oakland mayor is now the subject of a federal investigation after she sent out an alert to the residents that were there, that were undocumented, that there was going to be an immigration sweep. So she's under fire for that. It's like alerting people who are undocumented that they're looking for you and you must hide. So Los Alamitos, these are the people that are rejoicing. They're spectators. They cheered at the Los Alamitos City Council, who voted to oppose the California sanctuary state law. So these are people who are more than likely, some of these people are also in favor of not having the sanctuary state law come into effect. And also, you're going to see later down people who support Trump. So Los Alamitos, by contrast, it's moving in a different direction, with some residents and officials saying that they want nothing to do with the policies. About 160 people showed up on Monday's regular city council meeting, a monthly event that rarely draws enough people to fill the 40-seat chamber. So speakers lined up late into the evening to address the elected officials, who eventually voted 4-1 to approve that ordinance. So sometimes things are bigger than we are, said the mayor, Troy D. Edgar. Cheers erupted inside the chamber after the vote, with some shouting, and some were shouting, "Patriots, Patriots," and "This is a win for America. This is a win for America," as others waved pro-Trump flags. So this is Los Alamitos, and this is primarily it has like a large percentage of white population. So I'll read about that. It goes down further. So Councilman Mark A. Shirko was the sole dissenter, suggesting that the initiative could expose the city to a litigation. "We disagree with Sacramento on a lot of things, and we are not going to follow the state law every time we disagree with them," he said. "So I do not think that would be prudent. It's unclear how the ordinance will be implemented, and Mayor Pro Tem Warren Kusumoto, who proposed the initiative, said it may end up being largely symbolic. Is it going to hold up? I don't know," he said. So they may be the first one to voice their resistance against the sanctuary state law. In other words, they're not on board with their city being a part of a sanctuary state, so they want to keep things as they are. And they feel that people need to abide by the law. So among those who attended the meeting was Moti Cohen, a Garden Grove resident. So you're going to hear from people who live in the area and their opinions. So the resident whose wife grew up in Los Alamitos, who supports the anti-sanctuary measure, Cohen, an immigrant from Israel, he said he came to the U.S. legally, and that everyone else should too. And he arrived 27 years ago with a tourist visa and became a legal resident after marrying his U.S. citizen wife. So the law is the law, and it has to be enforced all over the country, he said. The country is a law and order country, and you have to come here legally. That's his saying. So Tara Farharjan, a 43-year-old resident in the neighboring Rossmoor, called the proposed measure heartbreaking. So she's opposed to it. So she moved from San Francisco to Los Alamitos in 2001 before relocating to Rossmoor 2 years later, and was bracing herself for a more conservative community. However, she has seen bumper stickers saying, "Show me your birth certificates," on the neighbor's car, and says some in her town are extremely right-wing. Still, she said that the community is overall inviting, and found that the council's move was very shocking to her. So it's almost like they want to create a police city, she said. So they're pretty hard line there, of course. And so critics in Los Alamitos take the issue with SB 54, which Governor Jerry Brown signed after the legislature passed it last year. It prohibits state and local policy or police agencies from notifying federal officials in many cases when immigrants potentially subject to deportations are about to be released from custody. So the initiative is in addition to the sanctuary city laws passed by numerous communities and other state laws to protect those without legal residency, including one that makes it a crime for business owners to voluntarily help federal agents find and detain unauthorized workers, and another that creates a state inspection program for federal immigration detention centers. So basically, they protect the undocumented residents rather than the legal residents. So it goes sort of the opposite way. So the Trump administration went to the federal court earlier to invalidate the state laws, claiming they blatantly obstruct federal immigration law and thus violate the Constitution's supremacy clause, which gives federal law precedence over the state measures. That case is pending. Los Alamitos leaders voted Monday to file an amicus brief to the Justice Department's lawsuit. Orange County, once a conservative stronghold, voted for a Democrat for a president in 2016. So surprisingly, there was 46% that backed Clinton, 44% of voters that backed Trump. And so I pretty much skipped over that, according to the data in Orange County Register of Voters. So Luis de Scipio, a professor of political science at UC Irvine, said that he's not surprised by Los Alamitos stance given its demographics. The city is more white and slightly more affluent than Orange County as a whole. So it's 71% white, whereas Orange County as a whole is 61% white, according to 2010 census data. More recent data suggests that the white population in Los Alamitos has slightly decreased. So it's going to take a while to see dramatic change in the kind of community. De Scipio said, through California, it's deep blue overall. There remain many pockets that support Trump and his hardline stance on illegal immigration. So last month, the Shasta County Board of Supervisors approved a resolution saying that the county is not a sanctuary jurisdiction. So it pretty much shows here the climate. Okay. What is going on? Open up the door in here. Okay, just wait. Just wait. And so here you see the climate of people who are a part of that. And so let's see here. What else was I reading? Okay, but similar efforts to denounce sanctuary policies have failed, including efforts in Costa Mesa to publicly oppose SB 54 and in Kern County, where the governing board did oppose the bill, but stopped short of calling its jurisdiction a non-sanctuary county. Some immigration enforcement hawks hope Los Alamitos will be a bellwether. Perhaps it could be a leader. We are heartened that the body of politics is taking an action that supports federal laws, said Robin Havinson, executive director of the We the People Rising, a Claremont organization that lobbies for stricter immigration enforcement. And so Havinson said that she hopes that the Los Alamitos and other cities stand against the sanctuary laws, that the U.S. Department of Justice will step in to help. We're just calling on federal government to stand up on behalf of the city, she said. Though few cities have considered what Los Alamitos has done, there have been divisions over sanctuary laws, and Orange County Sheriff Sandra Hutchinson, along with other California sheriffs, spoke out in opposition of the SB 54. So Orange County gave birth to the Proposition of 187, and Costa Mesa passed anti-day laborer ordinances and became the epicenter of the anti-illegal immigration movement during the mid-2000s. And so I could go on more and more and more and more and more. I'm actually almost done, but basically I read the whole thing. So it's more comments about some of the people and how they feel about their city and what their position is and their stance is. But you see the sentiment of the people here, that a lot of them are not for the sanctuary city thing. So I had played this earlier, and it was funny because there was a commercial and it was showing some woman in a leotard or some kind of swimsuit ad. And so, and but you could see how the people were cheering and everything. I don't know if it'll show it. It might not show it this time.
United States never be divided. The people united will 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 never be.
So that pretty much shows you how people feel about that whole thing. And so, like the title says up here, it said, could there be a resistance? Will it start a new resistance? So Los Alamitos wants nothing to do with California sanctuary state laws. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this video short. I was laughing earlier because when I had first did this video, there was something that came up on Yahoo, and it was showing Ben Carson, and it was showing the reaction of his wife because she was upset because he blamed her for the $31,000 office dining room set. So I know this is unrelated to this video, but I was laughing because it was showing her and she had this look on her face. I don't know if I can pull it up right now. Let me see. But I was looking and I was like, what? And it might still be there. No, it's not. Actually, it's talking about the ex-Playboy model that sues to break silence on Trump. That's not good. But anyway, it was showing Ben Carson. It was showing his wife, and she had this expression on her face. I don't know who took the picture or the photo at the time, but it was crazy. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, so here it is. The article was in the Los Angeles Times. Once again, I'm reading the Los Angeles Times. And excuse me for the interruption. But Los Alamitos wants nothing to do with California sanctuaries, city laws and sanctuary state laws. So a time of reckoning is coming, folks. It is here. It's actually not coming. It's already here. So people are actually coming out and saying how they feel about things that people otherwise wouldn't say. They're more apt to say it now, and people are more emboldened about their feelings about a lot of these politics and these issues and how it affects them in their neighborhoods. And so there is a resistance on either side. And so I feel like it's like a little war. And it's everywhere. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to cut this video short. All right. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.